And actually, I want to talk about something pretty serious. I think as Americans look in, and I guess in our own relationships here, cynicism is becoming so much a part of what we're doing. As a matter of fact, trying to stop cynicism here in Washington is like trying to stop water from flowing downhill. Every time the American people succeed in forcing sunlight and transparency on the political process, politicians find another corner to hide in. The latest trick is the majority's practice of accepting popular amendments to legislation, fully intending to strip those amendments out of the final bill that we send to the President. There were at least 4 of these amendments stripped from the conference report that's in front of us today. One of the amendments by Senator Sessions permanently authorized the E-Verify program and made it mandatory for all government contractors. Very important to the American people, very important to employers to be able to determine when they are hiring a worker that is here legally. That was thrown out. Senator Vitter allowed the implementation of what's called the no-match rule, which essentially says if a name and a Social Security number don't match up, that the employer is immediately identified. That was thrown out. Senator Grassley, an amendment to allow employers to voluntarily verify status of current employees. That was thrown out. And then there was my amendment to require the Department of Homeland Security to complete the 700-mile reinforced fence along the southwest border by the end of 2010. It passed on this Senate floor 54 to 44. This amendment was stripped out along with all the others. As always, Washington politicians respect the people's wrath when the cameras are on us, but they do not respect the people's opinions when the cameras are turned off. As everyone here is aware, the American people are adamant about securing our southern border. It's a matter of security, it's a matter of jobs, it's a matter of drug trafficking, weapons trafficking. Thousands of Mexicans have been killed because of our unwillingness to control our own border. In 2006, overwhelming public opinion forced Congress to order the construction of a 700-mile reinforced double fence by 2010. Both the Bush administration and Obama administration have dragged their feet, and so far, we only have 34 miles actually completed. The Department of Homeland Security claims 661 miles are completed, but that's not according to the law that we passed, because they count single-layer fencing and vehicle barriers, which do nothing to stop pedestrian traffic. My amendment would have reasserted a promise, a law that Congress has already passed. Leaders of both parties have repeatedly tried to break this promise. But we're learning there's almost nothing that politicians won't do to get out of promises that they make in the daylight, especially if they can pretend to keep the promises. This is staggering cynicism, and it's undemocratic. It violates our whole principle of the rule of law. This problem goes well beyond our unkept promises to secure our southern border. Earlier today, we considered the conference report on energy and water, the Energy and Water Spending Bill. That report also stripped out a popular amendment offered by Senator Coburn to require all reports under the law to be made available to the public. The majority is now so afraid of public scrutiny that they have to go behind closed doors to delete amendments they earlier accepted to guarantee transparency. This is now a pattern and a practice of the least transparent Congress in American history. And that should give all of us pause, especially when we consider these same politicians are right now behind closed doors planning a takeover of 1/6 of our economy if this health care bill succeeds. They have promised the bill won't add to the deficit, promised it won't force people off of their health care plans, promised it won't pay for abortions or cover illegal immigrants, and promised thousands of other things. The problem is, we don't know what's in the bill. In the context of this backroom amendment stripping, these promises cannot be delivered, and this process cannot be trusted. And I encourage my colleagues, we need to make good on our promises, both parties. And this Congress has talked a lot about ethics and transparency. And when we accept a bill on the floor with American people looking, but then strip it out when American people are not looking, our whole process is denigrated. And I think in this bill, particularly issues that deal with illegal immigration that our country is so engaged with, particularly at a time when people are losing their jobs, many times to workers who are not legal, this is a very sensitive issue to the American people. And for this amendment to be voted on and passed and then stripped out makes no sense at all. I encourage my colleagues not to support this conference report that has stripped out the will of the American people.